Hey guys, what's up? My name is Travis Monsod. Of course, you are tuned in to my channel, Travis Monsod. And of course, episode number 4 is here. This is the last episode when it comes to my How I DJ series. And of course, in this episode, we will be talking about the DVS. Alright, so what is DVS? DVS is Digital Vinyl System. Alright, so how did I get into DVS? Now, here's a little history. When I got into laptop DJing, a lot of my friends were still using vinyl and CDs. I was one of the first people to actually adapt the laptop craze when it came to DJing here in Manila. And with that, I actually got into the first version of Tractor, which was Final Scratch. This was a collaboration between Stanton, a brand, a hardware brand that makes also DJ equipment, and of course, Native Instruments. And their first effort was Final Scratch. And I used to have Final Scratch 1.0, I think, until it moved to Final Scratch 1.5. And then at that time, also another budding software was coming out, and that was Serato. So at that time, you only had two choices when it comes to migrating from an analog workflow to a digital workflow. Now, when I started using Final Scratch, it came with a DVS system. DVS means Digital Vinyl System. So the gist of the software was meant to replicate how you would use turntables or CD players, but without using the actual media. Meaning you didn't have to bring boxes and bags of records or booklets of CDs during your DJ set. All you had to bring was one laptop where your whole record collection was stored. Now, this was very appealing to me. I was really doing long sets. So I would bring about 2 record boxes worth 50 records each. I'd bring my record bag that was another 50 records, where my needles and where my headphones were actually stored. So imagine all of those records, 150 records, plus a 200 CD booklet where you had to literally go through pages of CDs just to look for a song. All of that in one gig, in one night. I myself had to load a lot of boxes, help also other friends with their boxes and their bags. So it was a pretty big endeavor just to bring all those media with you. But now, what the DVS system promised was all of your records, all of your songs in one laptop. And of course, at that time, that was very appealing to me because my back started to hurt. And I was like, if I can bring all of my records in one laptop, and rock the whole night. Because before we used to do 10-hour, 12-hour marathon sets, that would be very good for my back. So fast forward to me adapting the digital age from Tractor to Serato, and now I'm using Rekordbox. And Rekordbox also has a DVS or digital vinyl system function. So that's what we are going to be exploring in this video. You guys ready? Let's start first with what we need when it comes to the digital vinyl system. Number 1, we will be needing, of course, a DJ frontline. Now, again, these are link players, but we will not be using the link or the HID mode here in any way. We will be using the traditional DVS system. So in that thought, we will be needing an audio interface. Alright, so right here in my hand, I have the Denon DS1. This will serve as a point between the hardware here and the laptop that we will be accessing Rekordbox with. Of course, with this audio interface, we will need a singular USB cable so that it hooks up to the laptop, right? And we will need another pair of RCA cables. Now, why another pair of RCA cables? We already have 2 here from the player going to the mixer. So we will be needing a total of 4 RCA cables in the setup. Okay, let's get into how we set it up first with the audio interface. Okay, let's go. All right, so first of all, let's hook up our RCAs. All right, so normally when it comes to the RCAs, I look for the outputs. All right, the outputs. So one pair of RCA will go to the left output, and one pair of RCA will go to the right output. All right, so now these outputs, the outputs of the audio interface, will go now into the mixer. Okay, so the left deck right here, the left deck will go into channel 2, as this will be my left deck. So if I remove the RCAs from the inputs here, these now will go into the input of the left deck here on the audio interface. All right, so let's again look for the inputs right there. All right, so again, the left player RCA is here, and the output of the box goes to there. Now, let's continue that with the right player over here, right there, right? Input right, so this one is going to the RCA, and then the output from the audio interface goes again to here, which is where the previous RCA of the player was. All right, so again, we will have your RCA coming from the players in the inputs, and then the outputs go back to the mixer. All right, I'm going to leave it right there so that you guys can see. And of course, we have the USB cable going to the laptop. Again, this is a USB-A to USB-B or a printer cable. And let's go and put that in right there. And we go put that into our laptop right there. Okay, just to recap, guys, the RCAs of the multiplayers again go into the input respectively. Left RCA goes into the left input of the audio interface. Right RCA goes into the right RCA from the right player goes into the right input of the audio interface. And then the left output of the audio interface goes into channel 2 because it's the one where my left deck comes in. And then the right output of the interface goes into channel 3 because again, that's where I'll be using the right player. And then we have the USB going all the way to the laptop. Now, let's go to the laptop and let's configure the laptop to use the DVS software. Okay, let's go. All right, guys, so for this demonstration, I actually wanted to use Rekordbox, but again, I have to subscribe to Rekordbox and use the audio interface of Rekordbox. But for this one, I will be using the Serato software. All right, so when you open Serato, it looks like this. And then once you plug in the hardware, which is the Denon DS1, Serato will become like this. Did you guys see that yellow warning in the bottom? That means a Serato certified piece of hardware has now been recognized and you are allowed to actually unlock the DVS function of Serato. Alright guys, so we've loaded a song both on the left deck and the right deck. And now that we have loaded also the time code signal onto both multiplayers, let us now see what happens when we press the play on the left deck. And right there, we have action already when it comes to the deck on the laptop. Now, if you notice on the left deck, you will see the signal that is playing on the player. And of course, you will see the MP3 moving as the player also is playing the time code. Now, if I press pause on the player, which stops the time code, you will also see the MP3 on the software stop playing. Now, if I press back play and then I press my hot cue, I can start the song again from the beginning. Now again, hot cues for the left deck are 1 to 5, and hotkeys assigned for the right deck are 6 to 10. Alright? As you can see, guys, everything, all the information is on the laptop. So in this mode or in this setup, you will need a laptop near you. Not unlike if you're using, again, a USB, all the information will be on the display of the player. Also, when it comes to the second mode that I showed you, the ProLink, and of course, also the HID version, most of the information will be on the actual display of the player. In this system, you will need your laptop's screen to show all the functions that you have. All right? So again, this also applies to your turntables. You will need, of course, the vinyl version of the control timecode, and that's what you'll be using when it comes to your setup. So again, if I press 1, song goes back. And again, you can access your hotkeys on your laptop's keyboard. Again, guys, with vinyl, you will need to use the exact vinyl timecode for your DJ software. So if you're using Tractor, you have to get the Tractor timecodes. If you use Serato, like I have here, you need the Serato timecodes. And for Rekordbox, you will also need the timecodes for Rekordbox DVS. Again, this is the DVS or digital vinyl system. Of course, this is another way of how I DJ using the different modes. Now again, we are using Serato and not Rekordbox, as I don't have a Rekordbox audio interface. The one I have is a Denon DS1, and the Denon DS1s are made for Serato. So, with that said, let's go back to the video. Alright guys, so that was what it looked like on the UI when it comes to using the DVS mode. Again, DVS means digital vinyl system, and for this mode or for this way of DJing, you will need your audio interface. Now, what's nice about using this system is you can actually use this setup with older equipment. Like if your mixer doesn't have a built-in sound card and it's a totally analog mixer, you can actually use this function or this mode to get new life into maximizing your mixer. And again, if you have older CD players or if you have turntables which are truly analog, then this is the way that you will want to DJ with using the audio interface. Basically, guys, nowadays, the newer equipment or the newer mixers come with this guy built in. That's what we showed you in the previous video of using HID. That's why you have a audio interface already built in to the newer mixers that we have. Normally, in the Pioneer line, you have the DJM S9, the 900 Nexus mixers. They already have audio interfaces built in. And with those mixers, you have actually two USB connections. So two laptops can go at the same time. And of course, when it comes to players, if your player has a USB port, you're open to using it as an HID control mode. Whereas if you don't have that option with the player that you have, then you can actually use it in the DVS system like so. So again, guys, this is the fourth way of how I actually DJ. And again, this is called the DVS mode. We are using, again, a audio interface in between our laptop and our DJ frontline. Again, using the one USB cable and the other RCA cables, we have connected this hardware to our software, and we are using, again, the laptop for storage and loading all of our songs onto the players. Now, across all modes, the way I DJ is basically the same. These are just variations or different ways on how I get to interact with the DJ hardware. Gone are the days of bringing 50 records on your back and then another 50 on your left arm and then another 50 on the right arm. Everything is now digital, right? But again, you can actually get a throwback feel when using the DVS system, especially when you're on vinyl. I hope that you guys learned a little bit on how to connect, how to maximize your DJ workflow, of course, here in this mini series. And let me know if you guys want to learn more about stuff like this, by hitting me up on my social media. Across all platforms, that's at DJ Travis Mon Sod. So again, guys, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, click that bell notification for more content like this. So that was the series, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Manila, of course, and everyone watching, stay future-proof. Okay? Cheers.